That young man called Vincent Ose, the very black dark man, will be the end of many things in Nigeria. If the Nigerian government and the security agencies in Nigeria are not careful, he will pull so many of them down. He will expose so many of their ills. Nigeria has gradually gone into a new dimension of dictatorship without knowing it. We are gradually reaching to an extent where people can no longer express themselves. If you talk, you will be taken, you will be kidnapped, because sometimes it is not arrest, it is kidnap. Welcome to the Diary of a Broken Man, where we dissect political, economic, and social issues. I hope you subscribe, you like, you share, and you comment. It baffles me when Nigerians think that they are free because they are still walking about. Nigerians think that the period that they are is any different from the Abacha regime, when the military people were over everywhere. Nigerians think that they are free, but in reality, Nigeria has gone through the stages of democracy back into dictatorship, a kind of dictatorship, where they can no longer express themselves. Now, if you remember, when we were talking about the basic tenets of democracy, number one of them is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement, and so many other things, freedom of association. Unfortunately, within the last 8 years, it has gone from freedom to the extent where Nigerians can no longer post things on the social media and be free. If you post your opinion on the social media, you'll be, people will start looking for you. You become a threat. Unfortunately, that is dictatorship. So where is the freedom of speech that comes with democracy? How are we, it baffles me how we say we practice democracy, but every indices is pointing to dictatorship. In this same democracy, a sitting governor elected by the people and his vice and the assembly members elected were removed or suspended. In a democracy, so many things that in a cenacle, when they happen, the president or prime minister who ordered that would be talking about impeachment as soon as it happened. But in Nigeria, it seems as if when I watch it, I wonder the kind of democracy we practice, if at all we practice democracy. Because the term democracy in Nigeria has become a mere nomenclature, just a name. The reality of democracy is no longer there. How did we get to the point where people speak up their minds on social media about the happenings of the nation? It's not even as if they manufacture what they are saying. The pain is that they are saying the reality. In fact, this present government, has a very subtle way of opposing truth. You become an enemy once you say the truth. You remember when Peter Obi, the former governor of Anambra State and the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, when he went to John Hopkins University, and then he stated facts about the indices of poverty and so many things going on in our country, Nigeria, and how they are supposed to be. If this and this and this is done, look at the result it should have gotten. Unfortunately, instead of tackling what he said, instead of taking would I call it correction or the suggestions of what he said, so far since he became an opposition, he has been pointing out things that should better the country, Nigeria, together with some other commentators. So many people, well-meaning Nigerians, are pointing out, if you remember Adesina, I think the chairman of Afribank or something like that, he pointed out a few things and they told us that per capita GDP of Nigeria, we are worse than we are since 1960. So people in 1960 are now better than us. So instead of moving forward as a country, we are gradually slipping backwards, even worse than we were when we got our independence from the colonial masters. So how did we get to the point where people can no longer express themselves in a country? Unfortunately, people who should be defending the rights and the duties of Nigerians join the gang of those who will be, sending people to arrest people. Then the worst of it is this issue of arresting people without warrants. Where does it happen? A security agency comes to arrest somebody and he has no warrant. Some of them have no uniforms, practicing barely, what do you call it, rogues. How did you get to the point where a police officer goes to arrest somebody without uniform, with a koropeka? That is the level we are falling into as a country. And so sometimes we, as a country, we need to sit back and ask ourselves basic questions. Do we really practice democracy? And if we answer yes, what are the things that show we are practicing democracy? Have Nigerians the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement? Can they move around as they, move? Because we remember in 2023 during election, some people were threatening people. If you are not from this place, you won't vote. Is that freedom of movement? And then you travel, you are not sure you get to your destination because kidnappers are on the way, bandits are on the way, terrorists are on the way. You are not sure. Your mind is not at rest because you are afraid you may not get there. And who has the money for flight? Who and who in Nigeria, where the GDP per capita has gone down worse than 1960? So how many people have the money for entering flights? And if so, you want to enter flights, will your flights be delayed? And if they are delayed, will there be an apology or a sort of amendment, amelioration for the time wasted? These are the things we battle as Nigerians. On the day-to-day, you go to the market. Are you sure somebody went to the market the other day to buy some gifts, and we budgeted a certain amount of money. And in the market, the money tripled. What we budgeted, gone times 3 of what we budgeted in the space of 1 week or 2. There is no price control. There is nothing. Everything about democracy is lacking. So how are we saying we are practicing democracy? So the issue of the young man, the Vincent Osei, popularly known as very dark black man, I don't know how the whole issue played out. I don't know the facts of what happened, but I'm sure the mom's account was some money were being deducted from her account. Once she receives money, it will be deducted on the basis that she borrowed money that she claimed she did not borrow. Now, I don't know allegedly whatever happened, but how would he go to the bank and on the same day he went to the bank, around the bank vicinity, he was arrested? Not even arrested. The situation, the way I saw the whole thing, the way I heard about the whole thing, it's more of kidnapping than arresting. How did we get to the point where our security agencies have become rogues in action? No longer, no form of, you are looking for professionalism in their action. There is none. This is the same situation. If you check back in 2020, these were the situations that led to the EndSARS protest. These were the situations. There is no difference. The only difference is the change of name of the agency, the SARS and the EFCC and all of them. Because the way they act, I was just watching a video some minutes ago. I will put it on the screen so that you see it, where police were slapping and beating, and there is nothing they didn't do to the young man. And so you ask yourself, how did the police security agencies in Nigeria descend to this point, the bestial state? They act like the state of nature, Hobbesian state of nature, where there is no order, everything is chaotic, everybody can do as he likes. The might is right. Anybody who has gun is so powerful, he can beat up anybody. How did we get to that point? That is a question we need to ask ourselves as a nation. Are we still practicing democracy? Or have we slipped back to dictatorship without even knowing it? Is the democracy in Nigeria mere nominalism, mere name, but not democracy in reality? I believe that all these things are happening because the rule of law has been threatened. Remember that the rule of law is an intangible asset a nation has. If you don't have rule of law, nothing else will happen. Investors will not come because they are not sure they will be protected. So how did we allow ourselves to get to that point? These are the questions we should be asking. Let me know in the comment section what you think we can do as a nation to restore our democracy back, because it's slipping away. It's getting out of hands. People are no longer safe to speak. Anybody who posts anything as a kind of opposition to the aims of the government becomes a threat to be arrested or to be kidnapped, because sometimes the rogue attitude doesn't show arrest, it's kidnapping. Some of them don't even come with warrants. And then if you talk about warrant because you know your right, or you hurriedly get the warrant after you have said it. Remember, this is the Diary of a Broken Man. Remember to subscribe, to like, to share, and to comment. And I will see you on the next one.